learning from playing or learning from singing, but not learning from reading. Okay, listen to the statistic. Only 30% of the people can enjoy learning out of reading. And most of people, they learn outside of the school rather than inside of the school. So now we're telling you the purpose why we have to go to Taitung. Because most of the kids over there, they're not very good at learning from reading. Okay? So we ought to bring them out to teach them English from playing, from having fun, from get to know people, from building up their confidence first. Okay? I happen to believe that belong to that 70% of the person I cannot learn from reading. Even though after years, I'm now enjoying reading now. I'm pretty good at reading right now. But still, looking at the back, I was not at the school. I was very soon when I go into the classroom, probably in less than 10 minutes, my attention start to lose. Okay, my mind started going outside of the classrooms. Okay, where the teacher was teaching. But most of the time it's because at that time the teachers are boring. Okay, they're really boring. Okay, they don't know how to teach in the proper way. But anyway, first of all, I have to explain to you. Sometimes you might see my English a little rusty. It's because not only because I haven't been using them for a long time. Most important is I haven't got a good degree. I only have the highest degree I have is high school students. I graduated from high school. I've never been to university in my life. But well, then when you're thinking about that, you think, wow, high school kids, then your English is not too bad, okay, compared with most of the people. Yes, I only, my formal education only stopped at high school. And then in Taiwan, there is a compulsory military service. So I choose to go to the military. I went to the military service for 3 years, okay, as a really lowest rank soldier. When I was in the militaries, I got moved from coast to coast. I was once in Mazhu. Some of you may know the place, a very remote island, very close to China. At that time, you want to know how long ago? It was 45 years ago. So you know my age now, right? 45 plus 20 is my age, okay? If you know mathematics, if you happen to know mathematics, you know it's 65, okay? So, 40 years ago, I went to the military service, okay? At that time, it was the tension between China and Taiwan is very, very strong. So they will send people swim over to our island and really kill people, okay, kill the soldiers as a record. They take off your head and take one side of the ear, go back, they can get a medal for that, okay. So that was the situation I got sent into the military, okay. My very first, after training, basic training for 4 months, so I got sent to Hualien. I went to that place. In the school, you know, I was a very popular student, except study. Okay, I was very popular. Everybody liked me. Teacher even liked me. But they even liked me. The only problem is I wasn't very good in tests. Okay. But anyway, I went to Hualien. Okay, I got assigned to a military camp. At that time, young people are compulsory to went into the military, but majority of the soldiers are those who came from China. Okay, at that time. Okay, because after the war, they followed Chiang Kai-shek, moved over to Taiwan. So most of the soldiers are elderly people. They are old, they are senior, they have a higher ranking, usually they are sergeants. Okay, so they're very tough. They sometimes, never you see them smile. So I got assigned to a very tiny little bed. Okay, the bed is actually, and I don't know how to describe that. Everybody actually sleep on the one flat bed, very long bed, okay? Is there any special word about that in English? Anybody can help me with that? Okay, a very long bed. Okay. sleep with 20 people on the same bed, okay? So the only difference, the separation between you and the others is only the mosquito net. You know the mosquito net? At that time there is a mosquito, so everybody have a mosquito net. So you cover with a mosquito net and you sleep, and right next door, the other side. So I got assigned into the middle of that situations. So two men sleeping next to me. Well, many men sleeping next to me, but these two men are elderly soldiers, sergeants, and they snoring. Okay, sometimes they smoke heavily. So I went into the bedrooms. It's very hard for me to bear with that situation because first the smell is already bothering you, and then they snoring, and also sometimes they drink. Okay, so their behaviors and use a very improper language at that time. So for me, it's very difficult to get myself accepted in that situations. So I have to pretend I'm a very nice boy, okay? But you have to do your duties. But after dinner, usually, I was assigned in Hualien, right next to the the runway, right close to the runway, close to the beach. So I have to take a little break myself. I enjoy classical music, so I bring my record, and I went to the beach and listen to the classic music. But somehow that very small way of finding a way to get away from them does upset those people. Those elderly senior sergeants, they got upset with me. They think this young boy does not want to be with us. He is a loner. He's a very weird, okay, in our terms. So these people, they don't like me from the beginning. For me, I have no bad intention. Only thing is I want to have a little fresh air for myself. I want to have a little time for myself. And that's the only reason I did that. But one day, military commander all of a sudden decides to group everybody for some announcement. So they blow the whistles, they call everybody in a short time. And I was on the beach, I was still enjoying my music and the wave from the oceans. I did not hear that. So these old people, they saw me there, but they didn't want to tell me. No, when I say they are old, they're not that old. They are probably 40 years old. Okay, but to me, still young guys for me, with my age right now. But anyway, I got left out. Okay, so in the military, sometimes they could be nice to you, but they can also be hard to you. These old soldiers say, God, this guy, he always trying to be an individual himself, so just leave him alone, let him get some punishment. So I finally received a punishment, been calling it an emergency. I was absent during the emergency calling. So they decided to give me some discipline actions. So the discipline is I got to lock into a jail. It's like a jail. It's a cage, basically, for a few days. So can you imagine for young kids in your life, you are innocent, you are always nice to people, but you suddenly have to be moved into that situation, and they have to take off your belt, they take care of your shoelace, and they just avoid you sometimes commit suicide. Okay, they lock you in. So when the iron door was locked, okay, the sound is really breaking my heart. My knees, I hardly can stand. I have to sit down. I'm looking at the wall myself. Whole night I couldn't sleep. I said, what happened to me? What happened to me that I've been a nice guy all in my life? I've been popular persons in the school. But why all of a sudden I come to this society, nobody accepts me? Okay, it seems everybody hates me. And they put me into that situation. I feel so ashamed that I was forced into that situation. My tear was out. Okay, I couldn't accept that. I couldn't sleep whole night. But after a while, I start to think myself. I say, wow, I have another 2 years and 8 months to go. If I let this situation continue like this, it will be very hard. So I don't think I can go through that, okay, at my situation. So finally I decided to say, it is, if they don't want to know who I am, if they're not interested about me, or what a nice guy I am, but now I have to start to learn about them. So when I get off from the jail, I start to learn more about them. I start to pay more attention. I don't anymore care about their behaviors, the way they talk. I start to carry conversation with them. Even they all carry a very heavy accent. And I start to say, wow, where are you coming from? And suddenly they start to tell me their stories. They say, I was only 18 years old. I was in the field, rice pad field. And one day the KMT soldiers, the military come over, and they just grab me. And here I am in Taiwan. I lost my parents without saying goodbye. I got forced to Taiwan. Joined the war and went through all the hardship, and now I'm in Taiwan, alone by myself. Then the other soldier would tell me saying, yeah, he was living in Guangdong, somebody in Shandong. All these, they join the military, and then sometimes they fight, they see their comrade killed. Both sides, he was only survivor, but they end up in Taiwan. So after you hear all these stories, I suddenly realize I'm dealing with a bunch of lonely guys. Just because you don't know them doesn't mean they don't have a lot of story to tell. They are actually anxious to tell you their story, but nobody interested to listen to them. Because most of the young people trying to avoid them. Okay, because they think, wow, these people, I can't deal with them. They're tough. They're always trying to give you hard times. They're sergeant, you know. They're always trying to dictate you to do the things they want. But when you're looking inside of themselves, if you're really carefully looking inside, you see it is just a wall to protect themselves from being naive. A lot of them don't even write proper characters. A lot of them know, most of you have better knowledge or education than they do, but they don't want to admit that. The only reason, the only thing to keep their pride is to demonstrate to you their power, to demonstrate to you their rank. They are higher than you. They can order you to do the thing they want you to do. So when you see through that weak spot of themselves, I start to become more understanding. I start becoming the best listener to most of them. I actually take my journey to writing books, the story about them. Okay, I didn't make a book finally, but Long Yin Tai finally written a book about all the story about these people. So I start to show my passion to them, show my understanding to them, and to make a long story short, I become the best friend to all the old soldiers. Okay, so my rest 2 years and 8 months become very smooth. I become the most popular persons again. I start to become the bridge between the old and young soldiers, because sometimes they cannot communicate with each other. I start to become the middle person. I even start to learn their dialect. There is a Shandong friend, the soldier will say something like, you know, you don't understand. Then you have a Sichuan person will talk to you in their very heavy accents. 今天天气不错，山东话老外忘了。Or somebody will say Cantonese. Okay, to make it also, I try to say, well, since the time is boring, I got 2 and 8 months to go, so I start to learn everybody's dialect. Okay. And I managed to carry conversation with them with their own dialect, and to make them really feel they are talking to their their families, okay, that kind of relationship. When I went home, I always bring some gifts, some food that is with the home taste, okay, and share with them, because I know in the weekend, in the holidays, you got a home to go home. They do not have a home to go because they are alone in Taiwan. So for that, I want to share with you, young friends, is sometimes when you trying to be a volunteer, you think you are going there and doing a favor to someone. It is not. It is giving you an opportunity to know another human beings, to know their behaviors, to knowing where are they coming from, to know what kind of background, okay, and to make you feel you are also at the same time learning something from them, because they sometimes have that fence themselves. They, most of them are in a very isolated surroundings, and you are the one going to bring them the whole horizons. You are the one going to show them what the confidence are. So the first thing I want to share with you is dealing with the young friends like this. Always the first thing is looking at their eyes. You'll appreciate more when I'm with my experience. The very first day I see them, most of the time their eyes cannot look into your eyes. They always have confidence, have no confidence. So for someone do not have confidence, if you look into their eyes will start to move around. Remember if you're telling any lie, your mother say, hey, tell me, Adrian, look into my eyes. Did you do it or not? Then if your eyes start to blink, they know you are not telling the truth, right? So eyes is always the best way to communicate with people. So first thing is you have to always look into their eyes and show your friendships, okay? And trying to get them to do the same thing to you. I hope by the end of the whole session, they'll have the confidence, will have the courage to look into people's eyes and telling their own stories. Okay, then you will be a successful leaders. Another reason I always say, okay, to be a volunteer, you're benefiting both sides. You yourself, probably a lot of you have not been to Taitung, or some of you even been to Taitung, you went in there just as a tourist. And please remember, Taitung is now one of the land I try very hard to preserve them, because I believe that is the last piece of the land, the land, you know the land. Okay, for Taiwan. Okay, in another word, Taiwan has been polluted so much, but the east coast of Taiwan is probably the last half of the land that's still in a very good condition. They have rich culture. They have 7 different Aboriginal major tribes there, from Lanyu, Dao tribe. They call Ami, and one is Amis, right? The other one, then they have many other, Taiwan, Bunong. So trying to know all different tribes, okay, to learning each and everyone's behaviors, trying to get to know more about how they finally land up there, okay. For the Aboriginal friends, they have no choice. They have in their whole life, they has been, originally when Dutch come over here, Taiwan have a lot of deer. So the Dutch actually use them to trade with weapons, trade with merchandise, with their deer skin. Okay, that was the very first time they started to do the trading with foreigners. And lately, of course, the Qing dynasty, the people come over here, they trying to take their land. So they got pushed down to the mountainside. And in 1721, okay, because during the Qing dynasty, there was a group of people trying to fight against the regent. So they trying to say, we want our Ming dynasty to come back. So some of them, and at that time we call 反清复明. There's a gentleman called Zhu Yigui. He lead a bunch of guerrillas and try to fight with the local regent. And finally, of course, they lost. So they all escaped to the mountains. So all the poor indigenous people, the Aboriginal friends, they were living in the mountains. But the Qing dynasty, the person who in charge just made a decision, say, well, let's block off all the road to the west coast, west side. So this way, we will save us from problems. So they stopping all the peoples from the mountainside to do tradings with people on the west. So most of them was forced at that time, the Aboriginal friends, they lost the opportunity to exchange merchandise and rice, food with the Han people. So they were forced to move themselves through the central mountains. They landed in the east coast. The very first immigrant is called Ameizhu, but the rest of the tribes, they was moved, most of them after 1722, when they make the final announcement of blocking the people from mountain down to the plain of the west side. So you see all the stories started from there. So of course, a lot of confusions, a lot of situation. The Japanese trying to move them down from the mountain down to the land, down to the east coast on the lower part. Which the only reason is because they can better control them. If those who have seen the movie 赛德克巴兰, you can see how Japanese treating our Aboriginal friends. But all these have telling you how their ancestors were leading their tribe people in order to save them, how they build up their tribe cultures, why they have the age group that different themselves, and then the age means senior people, the junior people have to show their respect to the senior. That is also their family traditions. Unfortunately, most of this system got broken down because a lot of them forced to go to the mainland, go to the big city, trying to make a living. So suddenly you find a tribe, the middle class age group are disappearing. So most of the tribes you go to, you will see the elderly people, the grandma, are looking after the young people because most of their parents, either they separated or they forced to survive themselves in the big cities. Okay, that is a lot of situation. You see the young people. The reason why sometimes they are very anxious to have a big brothers and sisters is because most of the time they just don't have that access to having this opportunity. So you will become a very important friend for them, an important big brother and sisters to look after them and work with them, and most important, play with them. So I think I'm going to stop right here. The reason I'm telling you my story is because I want you to know, if somebody don't want to know you, it is you have to go and know others. And after you start to take off their fence and get to know them, and when you take off this barrier, you find a totally different lifestyles and horizons. You start to be able to better communicate with everybody and better appreciate other people. I use this same method and with a lot of passion make what I am today. I joined American Express, start as a messenger, and I end up becoming the general manager for American Express. And then after American Express, I joined the Landers Hotel, start from one hotel, and then of course I move on. But when I run in the hotel, I have a totally different vision. I believe, wow, a hotel is not just receiving guests and making money. A hotel actually is a platform for a country to making friends with the world. So instead of just making yourself become an ordinary hotel businessman, I use hotel as a platform to making friends. So I start to get myself moving to the leading hotel of the world. I become the chairman for the leading hotels of the world in Asia Pacific. Well, at that time, the Peninsula Hotel is my member. The Imperial Hotel Tokyo is my members. The Oriental Hotel is my members. Never you could start off, you could make friends with these people. But in the end, I end up becoming their chairman, okay, for the entire Asia Pacific region. So for only reason is not because I want to be their chairman. The only reason is I think when Taiwan does not have an official diplomatic relationship through United Nations, Taiwan still have many channels to making friends with the world. And to making friends with the world, of course, the best thing to do is to join them, to get to know them a bit first, to show your hand first. By every time I start to show my hand, my friendship with people, I have never failed. I end up become many friends, I've ended up become finally being elected as their chairman and work with them. So I always feel for any of the young gentlemen and ladies, when you go out and be a volunteer, probably you will become a better leader for your futures. I also very pleased to hear, Microsoft, each year they want to select from Asia 120 students. They have a conference called Young Entrepreneur, Young Leadership Programs. And they originally allowed Taiwan to have 4 persons. And they actually asking us, the Ally Foundation, to recommend a few people. We gave them a few names. And finally, they made a special recommendation because they say, well, these kids has been outstanding. They're doing a wonderful volunteer work. So finally, they actually take 2 of our volunteers, become into these organizations. And they are now, very soon, I think next month, they are going to Singapore to attend the Asia conference. So you can see, of course, I'm not encouraging everyone just for that purpose and trying to be a volunteer, but I think you can see whatever you're doing is appreciated, okay, because it's encouraged. So I'm sure in the end, I hope by the time you finish this experience, you'll feel that the whole thing is worthwhile. I thank you for taking the effort to join this event, and I'm always looking forward to work with you from the time to come, and I hope after the whole sessions, after this summer, you'll become a different person. Thank you very much.